Good afternoon, it's Imogen from Redwing Solutions. We are a HR consultancy that specialises in day nurseries, preschools and out of school clubs. You may have come across me over the years. We've been trading for 19 years this May, so we've been around a while. I just had to respond to this question that was posed this afternoon because the poster mentioned that she had been advised by an alternative HR company, and she put in brackets one that didn't specialise in childcare. I thought that I really do have to respond to that, as we do specialise in childcare. So in answer to the question, the poster was asking about whether they could reclaim the cost of a qualification that they'd paid for if one of their members of staff was to leave, and whether they could make them stay was the inference. Now, let's take that in two parts, and let's first of all deal with the idea of making someone stay. In employment law, you can't make someone stay that wants to leave you. What you can put in place with certain roles, and it has to be certain roles, and you have to think about it carefully and weigh up the needs of the business and what you're trying to protect, is you can have covenants in place to protect you where somebody might set up in competition with you, they might solicit your parents away from you, they might poach your staff away from you. These are called restrictive covenants, and you should always take advice from somebody before using them. But we can't, as a rule, make someone stay. As I like to describe, if somebody doesn't want to work for you, you can hardly drag them kicking and screaming down the road every morning and get them to work. If they don't want to be there, they won't. And if somebody chooses to leave you, then they've chose to leave you. They can't be made to stay. So we can't have anything in place that makes that happen. I'm afraid that just is a non-starter. But what we can do is obviously deter people from leaving. And what we can do in that sense is have an amazing workplace with an amazing culture where people really want to stay. They get looked after, and looked after is more than a few cakes in the staff room from time to time. They get they obviously get rewarded with professional development opportunities. They grow. They get your values. They see your vision. They're tied in. They're invested, as I always describe. And my husband and I are talking about things, we're a bit invested there, and they want to stay. That's the best way to keep your staff with you. Look after them, and they'll look after you. In the sense of obviously deterring them, if you have invested in training, there can be circumstances in which we can reclaim training costs from an individual. Now, this is where it gets really complicated. So the individual has to have asked to do a qualification that they were free to choose whether they did or did not do. They have to have, if you like, been offered the opportunity and gone away, thought about it and decided yes. That would be a way in which it was clearly voluntary for them to do the course. They have to have been made aware that if they were going to do a course, that if they left within a time frame, and I don't get this 12 months that's been bandied about, it can be longer, but it would be a scale that the longer you were with somebody after qualification, the less you would pay back if you left. I mean, that's the only fair way of doing it. But that would all been signed and dated, and the clawback, that we call it, would all be agreed before the training started. It's not fair to say to somebody after a course has started, this is what's going to happen if you leave once you've achieved the qualification. So everything has to be upfront and transparent. And it would detail the costs that you would be able to recover. And we can't get back training time, we can't get back study time or anything like that. But what we can get back is the direct costs that we've been invoiced by the training provider. There is some caveats to this. You wouldn't be able to use a training clawback agreement if the deduction took somebody below the national minimum wage. That's not possible. You also would not be able to use a clawback agreement if the training money you've paid is what's called co-funding. And co-funding kicks in where perhaps there was a qualification like an apprenticeship, and the qualification was many thousands of pounds, but that person was eligible for funding for this course as an apprenticeship, and they therefore you only paid the 5% of that invoice as the employer's contribution, this co-contribution, co-funding. That can never be reclaimed from an employee. And often we see this with apprentices. Apprentices might start an apprenticeship, and the employer's paid over the training money. Paid over the money to the training provider. For whatever reason, it doesn't work out, and the apprentice doesn't stay. And the question's often asked, and we've talked about it a lot on our knowledge centre on our website. Can we reclaim that from the apprentice? And the answer is no, because that 5% was co-funded. So you're not able, under the legislation that gave us the apprentice co-funding arrangement, apprentice levy, you might have known it by, which obviously for big employers, but it's part of the same piece of rules and regulations. We can't claim that back. So training clawbacks, yes. Idea of it being 12 months, not necessarily. You can have longer, but it would be a sliding scale. They would pay back less if they did that. And if they don't complete the course, if in a training clawback, we'll often say, if you were kicked off the course, if you voluntarily left the course, if you finish the course and then leave, those are the sort of circumstances we would seek to claw back. What we wouldn't do is claw back any money if we made you redundant, if you were to be find the course discontinued, which sadly does sometimes happen with colleges of further education. They start something, they couldn't get the numbers, they killed it off, or any of those sort of circumstances. But transparency is the key, and the key to much HR is transparency, being honest and upfront and detailing it, and then seeing how you get on. Anyway, if that's been useful to you, I really hope you're able to get some benefit from this video. And if you need anything, you can give us a call. We're at Redwing Solutions, and as I say, we specialise in day nurseries, preschools and out-of-school clubs. And come and look at us on Facebook as well. We've got many groups that you could join and take advantage of the information that's held within them. Speak to you soon. Bye.